Jake Browning delivers an epic performance, and the Bengals get out of town with a crucial overtime win. Mike Petraglia inside Everbank Stadium here on Monday night. It was an epic performance by the Bengals on so many levels in a 34-31 overtime victory. Let's start with the obvious. Quarterback Jake Browning, his second NFL career start, and boy was he big. 32 of 37 on the evening, 354 yards, and he accounted for 2 touchdowns, one through the air, a 76-yard dime that he dropped right in the arms of Jamar Chase on 3rd and 2. And that was in the third quarter, gave the Bengals at the time a 21-14 lead. And then he had, Jake Browning did a quarterback sneak for a rushing touchdown. So a great performance by Jake Browning. Really, this performance will go down in all-time franchise history as one of the best, just purely by the numbers. But when you throw on top of the fact that he was doing it on prime time on the road in the building of the leaders of the AFC South, the 8-3 Jacksonville Jaguars, who are now 8-4, you really have to consider the monumental accomplishment made here by the quarterback in his 4th year of NFL play, but just his second NFL start, of course, filling in for the injured Joe Burrow on injured reserve. Burrow was here in Jacksonville on the sideline with a sling on his right shoulder, protecting that surgically repaired right wrist. But this night was all about Jake Browning and how he really picked up the pieces for the Bengals. They were down 7-0. They were down 14-7. Bengals had an absolutely horrific-looking trick play in which Tyler Boyd on a double pass threw back across the field, and it was intercepted. The pass was intended for Joe Mixon, but the pass really went awry, and linebacker Josh Allen picked it off, returned it to the 9-yard line. A couple plays later, the Jaguars scored to go up 28-21, and Browning had to lead them back again, and he did. Got the game tied at 28-28. Bengals had a 31-28 lead. Then it was Trevor Lawrence getting injured. He had an ankle injury in the fourth quarter. He did not return. It did not look very good for the star quarterback of the Jaguars. He left with that ankle injury, and a lot of people here in Jacksonville holding their breath. But C.J. Beathard did lead the Jaguars down the field for the game-tying field goal, 31-31, and then Evan McPherson wins it with just under 2 minutes left in overtime after the Bengals got a stop in OT, and McPherson wins it with a 48-yard field goal. After the game, it was all about one Jake Browning. Downtown Jake Brown is what Ted Karras called him, of course, leaving off the ing. He was joking with him in the locker room. And Jamar Chase, let's not forget about the night he had. He had 11 catches, 149 yards, and that 76-yard touchdown that gave the Bengals a 21-14 lead in the third quarter. After the game, you could tell that Jamar Chase was playing with a chip on his shoulder. He said, I felt like being evil today. I felt like just annoying my opponents and annoying the defensive backs when I was being disrespected. That's what he did. That's why he backed into the end zone on that touchdown, and Jamar Chase kind of had a smirk on his face after the game. He felt like being a troublemaker, he told us, and that's what he was. I felt like being evil today. What about the run game? Joe Mixon with 2 rushing touchdowns, and rookie Chase Brown finally got his hands on the ball in this game. He had 14 carries for 66 yards. The Bengals' running game was huge tonight. I asked Jake Browning about that touchdown pass to Jamar Chase, and he said if we weren't running the ball as well as we were tonight, Jamar Chase would not have had the one-on-one coverage, and certainly the Jaguars would have stayed in their cover 2, which would have given some help to Jamar Chase on that touchdown throw. But that wasn't the case. Their safeties had to play really up closer to the line of scrimmage, respect the Bengals' run game, and lo and behold, the Bengals break out a bomb for a touchdown, a key play in this contest. And certainly after the game, Jake Browning, keeping his composure, saying it was a great moment, but as I've learned in my time in the NFL, you're never as bad as you look on film after a loss. You're never as good as you look after a win here on Monday night, a 34-31 overtime victory. Bengals are now 6-6, a great weekend for the Bengals. because of what happened with the Browns and the Steelers, both of them losing, not necessarily because of the AFC North, but rather the AFC wildcard picture. Also, Denver lost, of course, on Sunday in Houston. That helps out the Bengals' cause. So the Bengals got some help. They took care of business, and now they have Indianapolis at Paycor Stadium. Of course, Indianapolis won that exciting overtime game in Tennessee. But Indy and Cincinnati this Sunday at Paycor Stadium. Following Saturday, it's the Minnesota Vikings at Paycor Stadium. 2 winnable games, and if the Bengals play as tough as they did here on Monday night, I think the Bengals can be staring at 8-6 very realistically heading into a game just before Christmas with the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road at Acrisure Stadium. But first things first, Bengals have to build upon this huge win here Monday night in Jacksonville, 34-31 in overtime. For all my coverage, be sure to follow me on Twitter X at Trags, Trags, online, clnscincy.com, and as always, my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@JungleRoarPod. Inside Everbank Stadium, the final again, the Bengals 34 and the Jaguars 31 in overtime. In Jacksonville, Mike Petraglia, CLNS Media.